Good morning from yammybtv. Wishing you all well again today. Sending loads of love. The topic I'm going to talk about now is about victims of crime. And having been out this long time to see firsthand that those around me actually suffer as well at the hands of, ex-perpetrators like me, often the ones ruining people's lives. Now I see it all around me with, them being victims themselves from, similar perpetrators like me. I'll give you some background story. It's my boy, my brother, not blood, but his name's Reece and he's from Birmingham. And he's been with me since the very start of the journey, him and his family. Have always often given great support to me through the dark days as well. But I'll give you a bit of background as to what I'm talking about here. So, his dad, a road sweeper who's done it for 30 years and wakes up every morning at 5 o'clock to walk the dog. And on this morning, he's walking his dog. He stops because it's a familiar journey for him. It's a close-knitted neighbourhood. And he bends down and he picks up a driving licence. So on careful inspection, you remember he's an old man now, but a dot of a man. So they say how they say it in Birmingham. So I hear. He looks at it and he's doing the right thing by looking at the address, looking at the name of the person and realising that it's just a couple of streets away or a little alleyway away from their own house. So at the kindness of his heart, he goes and knocks on the door to give it back, which is, what a normal human being should do, really. So he does that. It's a good deed. And what happens is he's confronted by two mature men, not even young kids. He says, yeah, he hands it over. They said, yeah, who are you? Really rude and disrespectful for a man who's giving back their things. And, he walks off kind of a bit bemused and, kind of thinking, what is it about doing something good, which you expect more of a pat on the back from. Not that he was doing it for that reason at all. So he turns his back, he walks off 5-10 yards, and a beer can, half full or whatever, or whoever they were. Obviously, they were out of their nuts or make no excuses there either, but decide to throw the can and it hits him on the back of his head. So, being the strong man that he is, he kind of turns around and he says, yeah, okay, I wish you all a good day. Sorry, that kind of stuff. And then they set about him and got him on the floor and give him a severe, severe beating where he was black and blue, where he was in hospital, where all his teeth were stuck into his gums, with all marks of all kinds everywhere. So, the family now, Reece and the rest of the family now have to go to the hospital. And obviously at first he can't make much sense of what happened, how could you really, especially as I've just explained the reasons why. After a few days he comes back home. He gets nursed a little bit by the family obviously, but now we find that he's scared to leave the house. From a man who's lived right and good all his life, to have such a feeling so late in life. You know how we feel about old age pensioners, and we all get in there in the end. Remember that. But I'd like to ask you one thing, or let you know one thing about such crimes. Especially in the old days. That if you went to jail and you beat up a defensive person, especially someone older. It was in the lower category of the lowest category of scumbag moves. And saying mine was in the lower categories as well, to be honest. But we in the prison way and in that life, these crimes fall into the rape, the sexual offenders, that kind of stuff. And often in the old days, for committing such crimes, you'd have to go under Rule 43, which would be protection. Different set of rules these days, but they're still around in there. And just to let you know, you won't be able to show your paperwork if and when you get arrested or whatever, because some men will find it absolutely appalling that you could commit such a crime, especially when the evidence is there and stated that he was doing a good deed by doing what he was doing, and to nearly die and never to be scared to come out of his own house again. You know, like, I leave that to you to think about. But also, you know, what does it mean then? So I find out now, like I'm on the receiving end of listening and feeling, you know, what's going on out here. You know, what is the feeling about what stops now then, good members of the public, when bad things are happening out on the streets, from going to help, you know, victims like Reece's father. You know, how off-putting that you could be wanting. You, we know about Have-A-Go heroes. Many have died, you know, for the cause of getting involved. And I noticed since I've been out, I've seen things, and I'm not being able to do anything about it due to certain circumstances, like being in a taxi or a cab and seeing crimes committed, and some, you know, people being dragged along the street, having been a victim myself. Remember being robbed as well while I was drunk. One night last year, nobody came to the rescue. Nobody helped even me that day. To be honest, not that that's about me and I care, but I'm just using that as an example. Does it put us off, you know, running to the aid of somebody that's in real trouble? And just to let you know as well, when you do get to jail, which you will, you know, because I'm not God. I'm not gonna, you know, but I'll sit in judgment on these kind of crimes, honestly, because I can't see how you can feel that, you know, you're going to be a big man, a strong man, because you can hurt an old vulnerable person who can't fight back. It's not, you know, he is a strong man. He gets up for work every day, but he's not used to, you know, fighting back with people. He wasn't that kind of man. He isn't that kind of man. But, you know, I hope you get what you deserve as well when you get to prison. Because you will look back on in shame when you're head for whatever reasons, whether you was drunk or whatever. I remember there was a time when I thought, you know, when I did something that I believed to be bad, in my case papers, and I was scared to show people that little bit there. I didn't put my hand on anyone, but I frightened and threatened, and I felt shame about that, you see, whether you lot have any kind of conscience or whatever. But you answer me. You know, do you answer that question for me? That how then is a man who wants to do a good deed by going back and doing the right thing could possibly end up like nearly losing his life? Yeah. So when you do get there, if you do get there, because, you know, I don't want to make no complications with this case or whatever, you're going to find it very hard, and rightly so. So you will have to join, I guess, the rest of the lower end of the scale of the scumbags that I once was, but on a different kind of level. In my view, you will have to end up on protection as well. But I'd just like to send my love to you, Reece, and all the whole family. And, you know, I felt to highlight this today because these are the things I'm coming across in later life, you know, having been a perpetrator all my life, to now see and feel what you're all feeling when you're victims of crime is very difficult. But yes, I'm going to be up more with more content later. Sorry to start off the day on a sad note, but sending love to Reece and the whole family down there in Birmingham.